Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. We're here today on episode 2066 of the Cabral Concept. We are getting started right now with our weekend Cabral house calls, answering all of your questions each and every weekend. Super excited because for me, not only is this a great opportunity to see what's going on in the community to try to help out someone in need, but also when I look at these documents, it's almost like a quiz for me because I don't look at any of these questions ahead of time. So what I'm trying to do is immediately draw upon all of the different cases that I've worked with over the past 2 decades and give you a great alternative to conventional medicine that you might be looking to now. Obviously, the caveats are I can't provide you with any medical advice, can't provide you with any medical treatment protocols or any cures. That is for conventional medicine only. We are here on this show to get to the root cause of all dis-ease in the body and then work on those underlying root cause imbalances. That's what it's all about. That's how I got well, and I'm sure, no doubt, you will as well. So without further ado, let's get into our 6 questions for the day. And of course, we'll be doing 6 more tomorrow. So we've got lots to come. All right, first question is coming in from August 19th. It is now closing in on... Well, it's closing in on the beginning of October. So it's actually, this is debuting October 2nd, and it's episode 2066. If you want to read along with the questions, head on over to stephencabral.com/2066. All right, let's get started. First question's coming in from... Let's see, it's from Whitney. It's a long question, so I'm going to read about half of it. So just understand that if you write in a really long question, I will read it. I basically scan the whole question, and then I'm going to read it to our audience. And if you ever want to follow along, you are welcome to. All right. Whitney says, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. I've had a strange condition for several years that no one and no doctor can solve. In 2017, I had breast implants placed due to breast abnormalities from breastfeeding. 3 months after surgery, I stopped producing my own saliva. An ENT placed me on certain medications to initiate saliva. Fast forward 2 years, I moved to a house with black mold. The environment was extremely sticky like glue. Only relief I got was from taking antifungals, etc. So in 2018, I looked for ways that I could improve. I'm getting worse. I need more prescriptions. I also had an explant this past March 2021 due to concerns that my breast implants were causing my lack of saliva and sticky glue-like issues. It has not eased and possibly gotten worse. I've also blowing my nose up to 100 times a day with black debris coming out. All right, so let's help. Well, so we see this. I mean, again, I know that this isn't. This is definitely not in the realm of conventional medicine, but many integrative health practitioners and certainly naturopaths have seen this before. So just keep in mind that your surgery for getting breast implants could absolutely have caused the issue with salivary production. There's just no doubt about it. That certainly could have been a side effect, an issue with the inflammatory process, as well as potential Herxheimer-based reactions, not to a healing process, but a side effect of having breast implants. Now, if you sound like a new listener to the show, which is great, absolutely fantastic. We're happy to have you. I've talked about potential breast implant issues and keeping in mind that breast implants often grow mold as well. That was on a previous podcast. You can search all previous podcasts at stephencabral.com/podcast. And if you ever can't find a podcast, simply write in at cabralsupportgroup.com. That's our free private Facebook group where we love to be able to help. Okay, so let's see where else we can help you. There's 2 parts to this. So right now, I mean, if anybody's been sick for years, you've been sick for 3-4 years now, we need to run the big 5 labs. That's the ideal thing to run. You need to figure out what are your imbalances for vitamins, minerals, omega-3s, inflammation, detox processes, yeast overgrowth, etc. And most likely, again, I can't tell you exactly what we're going to do, but most likely we're going to be doing a CBO protocol for the yeast and bacteria imbalances in the body. Then we're going to be doing a mold-based protocol. But at the same time, keep in mind, you can't live in a house that is loaded with mold and expect that doing a CBO protocol, mold protocol is going to get rid of it. Yeah, it's going to get rid of it in your body, and then you're just going to get it again. So you do it, the root cause here is you're living in a house with black mold. So that is absolutely toxic to the body. We have to get you out of that situation. Usually your home insurance will cover mold remediation. And so that's certainly what we need to do first. Whitney, lots of shows on mold. Head on over to stevencabral.com/podcast and type in those keywords. We'll be happy to help. Christina's up next. Hi there. I've suffered with interstitial cystitis since 2018. I'm a 31-year-old woman who's a school teacher and mother of 2. I'm hoping you have an answer that with some good supplements that are a great place to start for interstitial cystitis. All right, we have gone over interstitial cystitis many, many times. So let's talk about what shows those are on. Head on over to stevencabral.com/podcast and let's type in IC or specifically interstitial cystitis. All right. Type it in the search box. You'll see just one little scroll down. All right, interstitial cystitis on episode 1598 and 989 and 498 and 485 and 436. All right, so just to repeat those: 436, 485, 498, 989, and 1598 was the latest show on interstitial cystitis. For those that are unfamiliar right now with interstitial, I apologize why I'm having a little difficulty saying that name, but it's interstitial cystitis. And basically you're looking at a bladder-based condition, inflammation in the bladder. And I talk about all of the different issues with that type of pain around the pelvic-based area, sometimes frequent urination or the urge to urinate, even though it's not there. So we talk about it in terms of bacterial overgrowth. We talk about it in terms of yeast overgrowth. Absolutely the first place is to start. If you can only run 2 labs, you would run the Candida metabolic and vitamins test, and the second one you would run is the bacteria and parasite stool test. You can find all of those labs at stevencabral.com/labs, and you'll be able to find those. So that's basically the protocol we would begin with. We would find what those underlying root cause issues are, and then we would go about removing and rebalancing that. All right, but please do listen to the other shows on interstitial cystitis, Christina. All right, Anonymous is up next. When someone has bad smelling flatulence almost immediately within 5 to 10 minutes after eating processed foods, bakery sweets, for example, what could be going on for it to occur so fast? All right, that's a great question. So there absolutely could be an immediate yeast, candida, bacterial-based issue. So I'll tell you why. If it's processed foods, it's only going to take not exactly 5 minutes. So let's talk about this in 2 parts. So let's say it's more like 10 to 20 minutes. When you think about bread for a moment. Think about cooked, like a piece of bread, like stale bread. If you were to put that in your hands and you were to you can hear me making that noise if you're not watching this on video. If you were to go like that with the bread, just kind of bring it between your hands and kind of grind it up with your hands, it would turn to dust. It is so easy to absorb that. I mean, like literally so easy to break that down and absorb it. You would absorb it like water. It would just come into your gut like glucose, right? And it would come in as some fructose and glucose, because inside of wheat, which is in processed bakery goods that you're talking about right now, are fructose or fructans. And that would immediately begin to start causing yeast fermentation, or at least bacterial fermentation or something inside of the gut. So that's a definite possibility. Now, the second possibility, which may not be the case, because all of a sudden, let's say right away you had an urge to have a bowel movement, or you started getting bloated. Okay. You didn't name that. You said flatulence, which is gas. That's a different story, because right away when you put food in your stomach, some people can get an immediate spike or movement of what's called peristalsis in the intestines to start moving that food through, because there's another meal on the way. So those are the 2 main reasons we see. No doubt about it, in my opinion, you would run the same exact labs, like the same 2 labs as Christina. And those are at stevencabral.com/labs. And you would run the Candida metabolic and vitamins test, and the bacteria and parasite stool test. All right. We're going to be probably renaming those in the future to make them a little easier to remember, but we don't have any good names right now except exactly what they are: testing for Candida, your metabolism, right? All the different vitamins in the body, and how well it's working. All right. Kareem's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you for showing up every day for your community. You are extraordinary. Thank you. Appreciate that. I recently bought an Oura Ring, and I'm trying to understand it as much as I can. The main reason I bought it was to track my sleep and HRV. I wear a Fitbit at the same time, and my sleep data in my Fitbit is very different to the Oura Ring. Fitbit always says less deep and REM, funnily enough, so not sure which one to trust. I'm guessing the Oura Ring. My second question is about HRV, and yes, I did listen to your conversations with Cabral on the topic, but I'm just having a hard time understanding where to look at. Since the HRV is based upon the previous night, whenever I see a lower HRV, what day do I need to look at? Would it be the factors, lack of sleep, poor diet, etc. on the previous day? Sorry, I know my question is a little confusing, and I hope it makes sense. Just want to make sure. Just want to know what period I need to look at when trying to figure out my HRV. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. So, okay. Meaning, like, I understand your question, okay? I don't assume to know anybody's exact situation, but I know the question that you're asking. Okay, so here's the thing. I've used them all. I've compared the data from, I just did a review a couple months back on the Apple Watch right here versus the Oura Ring, and I'm not going to grab it behind me, but I actually have the Leaf device. So here's the thing. Let me answer your question first. Okay, so first things first. The Oura Ring, and really any of these devices, are not tracking your heart rate variability except at rest. Meaning the Oura Ring will do it if you don't move for like 10 to 20 minutes. Like, let's say you're taking a nap or you're just sitting down for a moment to like watch TV or whatever, and you literally don't move your hands, you don't move anything. Because it's difficult for these devices to track your heart rate variability, and that includes the Apple Watch. The Apple Watch took about 2 weeks for it to start to get into like normal range of being able to track my heart rate variability. My Apple Watch is about 10 points higher than my Oura Ring in terms of my heart rate variability. And you said your Fitbit was maybe even a little less. Well, here's the thing. Just to cut right to the chase, your Oura Ring is only tracking your heart rate variability overnight. That's it. So if you have a lower heart rate variability, because it only shows up the next morning. Remember, you only get your data from the night before the next morning. So what it's doing is it's only looking at your heart rate variability from when you get into bed until you wake up. That's it. And then it stops. Okay. So it's only tracking those 8 hours if you're in bed for 8 hours. But that's okay. And you can see how your heart rate variability would be affected the day before from your sleep that night. So maybe you worked out really hard and it spiked it, or maybe you worked out really hard and now you're completely exhausted and now it's even lower. Or maybe you ate close to bed or you drank alcohol close to bed and it lowered your HRV. Or maybe you were fasting 3 to 4 hours before bed and now you have a higher HRV that overnight. So you can still track it. It works great. I mean, it's literally my favorite device out there, without a doubt, and I don't get paid anything to promote Oura Ring. It's just right now, again, I'll promote another company in the future if there's a better company for you, because I don't play favorites. I play favorites to my community, to our audience. So that's that. The only device, though, which seems like you might be interested in it, is the Leaf device. So go to stephencabral.com/podcasts. Let's find it together. And type in LIEF. All right. And when you go to that, you should find, you know what? Let's type in Leaf Therapeutics, which is the name of the company. And remember, if you ever can't find a podcast, write into cabralsupportgroup.com and you'll be able to find it, because our talented Michelle will give you that link. Okay, it's episode 1694. So I just found it for you, and that will link to it. I'm going to make sure that we have, it says promo code, get 5% off. All right, this is the monthly. You can still order. I'm going to fix this link because you can order it without a subscription now. So you can do the monthly order, or I believe I'll find it for you. There's a link that will allow you to buy it without doing the subscription. I'll find that for you. All right. You will have to text me Karim, because I won't be able to put it on this show notes page. I'll do my best. It's episode 2066, but you can just text me at stephencabral.com/text. All right. Looks like Karim's up again. Sorry, I forgot to ask you in my previous question if a lower HRV is always a bad thing. Is it true that when your HRV drops, it indicates that one branch of your autonomic nervous system is becoming more dominant, either your rest and digest or your fight or flight? So actually, if my PNS increases, which is the parasympathetic nervous system, my HRV will drop. And so it's actually a good thing, right? If that's the case, I'm confused as to why everyone is focusing on increasing HRV. Yeah, it's a good question. Now, a dropping HRV can absolutely happen after a hermetic stressor. Okay, so let's call it a workout. Now, it may drop for one night, but then if it doesn't drop every night, well, then it can hopefully make you stronger. And then eventually your HRV will go from, let's say, an average of, 36 to then an average of 40 over a couple of months, right? Because you basically, as they say, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You just can't overdo it. Please do listen to my podcast on hermetic stressors to understand this. So, no, when there's less variability, it means there's more stress. So you have a lower HRV, lower heart rate variability. I'll be teaching this probably more in January. I'll be doing a lot more on longevity and biohacking. I'll probably be doing a small group coaching with that. So definitely stay tuned to the podcast for that. So no, what you want is overall, like in the grand scheme of things, your average for the week is a higher HRV. One night it might be lower, and there's no doubt about it. But you want the aggregate, you want the whole to be higher overall. So no, the more you're in the parasympathetic nervous system, the higher your HRV will be. All right. So the more stressed you are, the more fight or flight, the more sympathetic nervous system, the lower the HRV. For example, when I go out for a run, my HRV will drop. Because remember, Karim, I'm wearing that Leaf Therapeutics. And so I know when my HRV drops. And so my HRV will go at super low. But then when I'm done with the run, the HRV goes way back up. So you have to understand, when I'm in that stress situation, not good. But then I relax, vasodilate, calm down. I'm in the parasympathetic. It's just like blood pressure, right? You do a really heavy set of squats, blood pressure goes way up. Done with squats, you breathe, you relax, and the workout's over, blood pressure actually drops, right? So that's why exercise can be really good for people, obviously with medical clearance with high blood pressure. All right, one more question for the day, and it's from Anonymous. Anonymous says, what can help with Dis Paranoria? I always mispronounce that. Basically, a symptom of vulvar and vaginal atrophy due to menopause. My wife had a hysterectomy years ago. She is using a prescription, but this gives her headaches and other negative symptoms. Yeah, absolutely. Happy to help with this as well. We work with so many women in our practice, pre, peri, postmenopausal. And really what we're talking about is actual pain in the vaginal-based area, in the vulva-based area, with sexual intercourse as well. So a lot of this happens, and I'll tell you exactly why it happens, with a drop in estrogen. Okay, so during menopause, a lot of times we're talking about estrogen dominance, how high levels of estrogen are bad in women, high levels of estrogen are bad in men as well. There's no doubt about it. Men can convert testosterone to estrogen, not ideal. They'll put on more body fat. They'll have more inflammation. They'll actually begin to grow breast tissue. So all of this is super important to understand and think about. For women, though, during menopause, they can still have estrogen dominance because they can have even lower levels of progesterone. However, both estrogen and progesterone begin to fall. And when they fall, there can be vaginal atrophy, which means we'll talk about the entire vaginal area, vulva, etc., begins to shrink almost. So there's less fluid, there is more pain, and there's more dryness. So all of that has to be essentially accounted for. And so what we do is we use herbal-based products to boost natural estrogen, to boost natural progesterone, and we also have to help out the adrenals, because the adrenals are going to end up helping to produce more DHEA and, of course, cortisol and subsequent hormones after menopause. So women really need to take care of their adrenals and their thyroid at menopause and after menopause, and almost no conventional medicine doctor, meaning like I don't know any, that are practicing conventional medicine will ever tell you that. So Anonymous, the most important thing that your is this your wife? Your wife can do is run a test called the Stress Hormones Mood and Metabolism Test. You can find that at stephencabral.com/labs. That will let us know the levels of estrogen and progesterone, testosterone, DHEA, cortisol, and thyroid so that we can best develop a plan for her. So hopefully that was helpful. Also, coconut oil has worked for many women in my practice as a vaginal lubricant. If there is a lot of dryness, that can be really, really helpful. And again, many more tips. I've actually talked about this on previous shows too. So you can always use those keywords at stephencabral.com/podcast in order to find additional shows. Hopefully this was helpful today. Thank you so much for tuning into another Cabral House Call. I'll be back tomorrow answering 6 more of our community's questions. Take care, everyone.